I did forget about, let's see, what was it? When I went to my neighbor's, I asked her, would you bring me a map from South Africa, because that's where he was as a missionary. So she did. She brought me back a map from South Africa so that I could find out where Hamburg was, where Roteport was. And you know what? When I looked on that map, I couldn't find hardly any kind of a town, because evidently they've changed all the towns since apartheid had taken over. They took a lot of the farms from the Afrikaans people, and I don't know what happened to the farms, but they gave them to the natives, and of course they didn't know what to do with them. They weren't planters, they weren't farmers, they were just people that wanted land, and so that was it. Now listen, I want to go back to that Hudson. I forgot to mention this, that when my dad bought it, I remember we were in Los Angeles staying with my grandma Brooks. She lived right in L.A. on Pasadena Avenue, a really nice big 2-story house. And my dad had parked the car on the side of the curb there by the house. And I remember going out to the car and looking at it. My dad and my mom were there. And I noticed this really beautiful water cap on the radiator. And it was a picture, I thought it was Mercury, but somebody said it was a naked lady. Well, anyway, my mom, she didn't like that. She says, "Oh, Chet, you got to take that off." So he did. I'm not sure what he put back on there, but at least it wasn't that beautiful, water cap that they had on there. They called radiator cap, didn't they, Wayne?
It was a naked lady.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Well, anyway, he took that off. But I want to say this one thing, that when we were going, I'm not sure what state it was, but my dad, you know, he wasn't a very fast driver, and I guess Hudson's in that day couldn't go that fast. But anyway, he was going probably 45 or 50. And my mom, she had a heavy coat on because this is getting cold. She opened the door and was flown out and hit the side of the road, and it hurt her.
Did it have was it a suicide door?
It was a suicide door.
Yeah.
And that's what happened.
That's why they called it that.
She was thrown out of the car, and it hit her head, her neck. And you know what? I think that bothered her. Neck bothered her from the time she was Africa. She came back, and I guess it had bothered her many years. And about 5 or 6 years before she passed away, they found out that she had a tumor on her neck. And at that time, they supposedly went to some good doctors, but they couldn't detect it. Yeah. And of course, that caused her to, she became, what shall I say, she couldn't talk very well. You could tell that she was going through, her speech, her actions were very odd because she had some kind of a tumor on the base of her neck.
They didn't know?
No, they didn't know. And of course, that's what eventually she passed away with that problem. She had to go, my dad, after we got married, he said that she had erratic actions. She buried stuff that she shouldn't bury. She went out in the streets and flagged down the cars and did some odd things. And so eventually my dad had to put her in a what do you call them? State hospital. And I remember the last time,
how long was she in there?
She was in there probably around 2 years. And I remember the last time I went there.
How did you pay for that?
I don't know. I think it was state. I believe they took care of it. But the last time I saw her, no, not the last time. The time before I saw her, she came out. I guess Daddy got her, and she came out to where the car was, and she had known that I'd had some girls, and I was sitting, I think, in the back seat, and I had her, and she got in the back seat, and we gave her some bottle of pop water, pop, and she just drank that like it was candy. You know, that's what they are. They love sugar water. Anyway, she sat in the back seat, and I handed her you. I put you on her lap, and she took your diaper off, and she was so glad you were a boy. She was so ecstatic, just because I knew we had 3 girls, and then she saw you, and I did see her one time in the hospital before she passed away.
How old were you when your mom passed away?
let's see, let's see. And what you were born.
So you had, I was the fourth, so you had your fourth
I
child.
had Esther when I was 1940. I had 1949, 51, 52. I had you in 54. So you had to figure that out, how much how old I was.
How old was your mom when she passed away?
That's what I was trying to figure. She was in her 60s, 60, I think 68. Not very old to me anyway. But she was a sweet mom and whatever. But anyway, let's see. And then I was going to say, yeah, that was about the Hudson. And where did I get there after that? Where was I? Anyway,
What happened?
oh, my daddy, my grandpa, he's the one that supported us, $25 a month.
Brooks.
Brooks.
Grandpa Brooks, And
That was your mom's dad.
my mom's dad. And remember now, him and my grandma went to Japan and in Korea, excuse me, under the American Red Cross, and they worked there for quite a while. And my Uncle Paul was born there in Japan. My mother was born in Korea. My Aunt Isla was born in I think it was Japan. And Aunt Hilda, and she was born in Michigan, I believe it was. But anyway, for some reason, my dad and I think there was a little separation there. And anyway, Grandma and her three children, and she was expecting Mary, or was it Isla? Hilda. She was expecting one of them, and he sent her home with four children, actually three, and one went on the way. He sent her home to Michigan, and he stayed, and he did a lot of traveling before he came home. And I think there was a little separation there as far as being married. I mean, they were still married, but yet I think there was a conflict there. So anyway, Grandma came home with her four children, and everybody thought that was terrible because here she had all these little kids, little babies. But anyway, that was my grandpa.
They didn't divorce her.
He divorced her later,
and this is
Grandpa Brooks. Grandpa Brooks,
Did he remarry?
Yes, he did. He remarried. In fact, I think he had a girlfriend in Japan or somewhere, and I'm not sure what happened to that relationship. But when he came back to the States, he married a lady, and she found out that he was divorced. She didn't know he was, so she left him. But he always kept in contact with Grandma. He never did, which is like completely desert him. He supported her. And I remember him seeing quite a few times when I stayed with Grandma Brooks. He came over, and I remember, I probably mentioned this, he came over and they were eating dinner around the table. A lot of the family were visiting at the time. And Grandma, she had, of course, her plate, and she set a nice big round, juicy, raw hamburger right there in front. And he loved that. That was his
Raw
hamburger, But of course he probably ate some of the stuff, but I remember that meat right in front of him. Well, anyway, as I said, he was very supportive of Grandma, and
Didn't he have some businesses? Didn't he have a grocery store and stuff?
what's the
Mom?
matter? You okay? You're all right.
Mom?
What?
Did he have some businesses? Did he have a grocery store?
Yeah, no, he bought houses and fixed them up. And I'm not sure whether he rented them or he sold them. That's where he made his money during the Depression. And he had quite a few. In fact, Grandpa, after he came back from Japan, he became a principal. He was a teacher and a principal for quite a few years.
Grandpa Brooks.
Grandpa Brooks, And then also Uncle Paul was a teacher. Of course, my mom was a teacher.
So he was an educated man.
He was an educator, And Aunt Isla, let's see. Aunt Isla was a teacher for a short while. Aunt Hilda was a teacher for a short while. And Aunt Hilda and Aunt Isla married, Aunt Isla married somebody who lived in Mexico, but of course he was from an American family. And his family bought a lot of property in Mexico during the Revolution. And they had some really beautiful places. And then Aunt Hilda, her husband worked for a gas station. I can't think of the Texaco, yes. Worked at a Texaco gas station. He was stationed in Mexico.
Because in the 60s,
Now this is before, way in the 60s. This is in the 50s.
Well, when was it that you actually took a trip there?
Yes, I did.
Ruth and David.
Ruth and David. I went
Ruth,
with
do you
Aunt.
remember any of that?
Aunt
Going to
Ida.
Mexico? Well, Ruth was little.
No, yeah, she was 2 years old, so she wouldn't remember. But
and-
David, he remembers. But that was Aunt Ida.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, of course, I said Aunt Hilda. Her husband worked for Kingsley. He worked for Texaco. Now, Aunt Isla's husband, I'm not sure what he worked at, but his parents lived there for quite a while during the Revolution. But then, and then, of course, Aunt Hilda, and she was a teacher, and Aunt Mary was a teacher too, but not very long.
Because I remember I went with Dad. He took you to the airport. He had to drive all the way to L.A. or something.
Yes.
And I remember you getting on the plane, and it was
yeah.
a turboprop. It was a prop plane.
Yes,
Matter of
yes.
fact, I remember seeing pictures of that.
Is that right?
Of you and David
Oh,
and
really?
Ruth getting on the plane, either getting on or getting off.
Where'd you have that?
I remember seeing it.
Oh, we had it somewhere, but I don't know where it is. Yeah.
Grandpa Brooks, didn't he try to do something for us kids?
Oh, yeah. Well, he set up a foundation.
Okay.
This is years ago. He set up a foundation before he passed away, and give so much to each of our kids. Well, I did, and then after he passed away, he gave the what'd you call it, the thing, to Aunt Mary.
Aunt Mary became the trustee.
The trustee.
Yes,
And
but
then she ended up
and,
taking
yeah,
she ended up,
yeah,
using it.
she didn't. She
It
was
didn't go to the family. She used it all.
no. Well, either her or something. But
Yeah,
anyway,
it all went away.
But no, I think some of you got it, and then she gave it to because names for Ernie and Sharon, and we gave some to them because he was just out of the service, or he was going out. I forgot how it was.
Ernie and
Anyway, to Ernie. How was it? I know. He was going to go in the service, and he didn't go because for some it just quit. How was it now? I forgot how
The
it-
draft.
Yeah, right after the draft.
In 1972.
And she asked for the money.
Yeah.
And we said no. We said they've already taken care of it. I thought that was very awful.
Who
her to
asked
do
for the
that.
money?
Aunt Mary
Asked for money
asked
back.
for it back. Yeah.
Oh, man. I ended up I got $1,000 of that
I didn't get any.
in 1972.
I remember Esther got some, and Mary asked for Esther's money back. I don't remember receiving any.
No, I don't remember either.
Can you imagine that? Giving
Yeah.
it to,
I
Okay,
know.
Grandpa Brooks, I heard his story. Didn't he own some property in New York?
No, that was his. Some relatives.
Oh.
The island, Manhattan Island.
Manhattan,
Yes.
yes, yes.
And David, I wish he would.
Uncle David.
I wish he would talk to my cousin Jim. Yes, Jim knows more about that. That my relatives years and years ago earned Manhattan Island.
Because I heard that they owned a lease on Manhattan Island, and because of eminent domain, they lost that
Yeah,
lease.
that was something. Yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot how it was, but anyway, yeah.
Because of eminent domain. Otherwise, we would be
Yeah.
really rich.
Yeah. See, Brooks is sort of on the English, and Ives is on English. And of course, we've got a Ross in there too. Where's the Ross come from? But anyway, yeah. And then of course, my dad's side is German.
German,
German,
perhaps
Pennsylvania,
Jewish, because of the Lehman.
Could it be?
Lehman is a very Jewish German name.
Yeah.
But we're not Jewish because it didn't go through you.
Yeah. But anyway, of course, Lefler's German.
Very German.
But anyway, what was I?
Okay,
What did I get now?
okay.
All right, you're probably finished.